That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. This time we're discussing Black Panther, Long Live the King, Volume 1. You'll notice a little stamp up here says first time in print. This was initially a digital first series, and so it is only being published as a trade. It was never published in issue form or anything, only as a collected edition. Which I'm fine with, honestly. Like, I first heard about it, and I didn't realize it was digital first, then kind of found that out along the way. But I think that's probably a smarter way to publish digital comics in print form, because as much as I love Bombshells, doing the whole 3 stories an issue thing for the print was a little iffy and kind of made things feel a bit disjointed. So having it all come out at once in a proper collection seems like a better way to do things. I'm very supportive of this format over releasing digital books in single issues for the print crowd, because this just read a whole lot nicer to me. But yeah, this is a pretty smart move from Marvel to have a in continuity but completely doesn't matter that it's in continuity series of stories for people to read online, easily accessible, right when the movie came out and was really popular. Now you got people on the heels of Infinity War going into the comic shops, maybe, probably not, looking at stuff, and now they've got, hey, there's this trade called Black Panther Long Live the King. I like Black Panther in his movie and in Infinity War, so maybe I should read this. And yeah, this is nice. What comics need to do more often, standalone storytelling. It's easily digestible, it's comprehensible, and, you know, it's smart. This is set in continuity, but that really doesn't matter except for the last story. That's the only time when I was like, wait, what's going on here? But you know what? I caught up fast enough. I got that they explained what I needed to know for the story itself, so that's great. This is a real nice all ages kind of book. There's nothing like really dark or really all that complicated. It's superhero adventuring. This is about as basic as you get, and that's fine. I like stuff like that. It's nice. This is the escapism level of comic books to me. So we get 3 stories in this. 2 of them are, I believe, 2 issues, and then the third one's just a single issue. So we got Blackout, The Sacrifice, and Obion's Folly. Okay, so it's a 3 issue for the first story. And then Keep Your Friends Close, which I believe is just a single issue then. Is it? Let's see here. Keep Your Friends Close. Flippin'. Yeah, Keep Your Friends Close is 2 issues, and then the final story is Under the Bridge, which is 1 issue. We got 2 writers on here. I'm terrible at names, so I'm going to fuck this up. Nnedi Okorafor? Yeah, I'm terrible at names. Does the writing on Blackout, The Sacrifice, and Obion's Folly, as well as Under the Bridge. Lima Araujo, I think I did that one right actually, is the art on the first story, and Tana Ford is the artist on Under the Bridge. Keep Friends Close is written by Aaron Covington with art by Mario del Pennino. Again, if I fucked up anyone's name, I apologize. It's not you. It is my complete inability to pronounce names. So the first story arc, which I'm just going to call Blackout, is a pretty simple thing. Wakanda experiences a blackout because of an earthquake caused by nothing more than a giant monster. Because comic books. And of course, because this monster attack happens so quickly, only some people see it, including T'Challa, and they're all dealing with the crisis and the craziness of the blackout. so they don't really know what to do about the or like people don't even see the monster or necessarily believe it. So yeah, T'Challa kind of deals with the chaos during the night of the Blackout, trying to be Black Panther, and because of how sudden it is, he's not able to save everyone, as illustrated by one woman falling to her death in a chasm. Wakanda's backup power generators were also knocked out by the earthquake because it rendered the vibranium power sources in the area inert. So Wakanda is without power for days, or the capital of Wakanda is without power for days. I like that they distinguish the difference between Wakanda as a country and Wakanda as like city-state kind of thing, because often Wakanda seems to be shown as just one big city, as like a very small country. This really expands it and gives it a proper sense of scale. So they're in the capital city of Brinizana, and so that's, it's pretty cool the way that all works together. T'Challa goes to investigate the source of the earthquake with some of his personal guard, and they enter what is called a mute zone, which is kind of like, I guess, the hill folk, the off the gridders, which I guess it's nice to know that Wakanda has that type of people too, who just don't want anything to do with modern society or technological advancement and stuff like that, so they just kind of live out in the countryside and don't want to be bothered. So they find the mute zone and kind of go through it and search for clues, which takes them into the forest, where T'Challa is attacked by a Black Panther, which is under some kind of spell, and since T'Challa's vibranium suit is rendered inert, it actually does quite a bit of damage to him, and he's forced to be pretty brutal with it and has to kill the Black Panther with his bare hands. Which, I mean, that was a bit grimmer. I said this is an all-ages book. It's a bit grim, but they don't really show a lot of that violence on the page. They do a pretty good job of framing it. Like, there's definitely blood on the page, but they do a pretty good job of framing it to not highlight the gore, but still get us across a good sense of tension and emotion. I like the panel structure here. Very chaotic, very bunched together, claustrophobic. Really gives an intense feel to it, which is nice. And I do quite like the art style. It's definitely got an anime influence to it, or anime manga influence to it, I feel. Particularly with stuff like this, these little excitement lines around the head. That's definitely, I mean, it's in all comics, but you tend to see that a little bit more in Eastern comics. And there's just a lot of that used here to kind of signal you, the reader, to catch some of the sense of emotion and what the characters are feeling. Like, there's a lot of it in this issue, as they like kind of sense things in different directions, stuff like that. Anyway, T'Challa hears of a scientist who had been working in the hills of Wakanda to try to create sentient vibranium, because comic books. And like, honestly, I've got the Jack Kirby Black Panther. That's literally the level of science that exists within Wakanda, folks. You go read the original Jack Kirby run, and there's a dude turns into a vibranium sound monster because he's exposed to raw vibranium. It's weird. Comic books are weird, man. Oh, here's a better example of the attention lines, I guess you'd call them. Anyway. Yeah, so they hear about this legend of the guy who wanted to try to make sentient vibranium. T'Challa uses all his detective skills to deduce that's obviously the monster causing all these earthquakes. Another earthquake happens. T'Challa's able to save some people this time and find a hidden cave in which the scientist had been working. So he's able to enter it and find the source of the sentient vibranium, and he does a great intelligent thing as a king, and he frees the sentient vibranium, and it immediately stops attacking people and causing earthquakes. So he saves the day. Mercy is the tool of the king. I like that. It's solid. You know, it's smart comic writing. It's smart writing for heroic stories to try to, you know, save the day through non-violent means. That's cool. Instead of killing the monster, he frees it. I like that. Then we got Keep Your Friends Close, in which T'Challa's dealing with a revolt by the Jabari tribe. He's dealing with a revolt by the Jabari tribe, who are leaderless without Baku. And then he stumbles onto a section of forest that is not right, realizes it's all mechanical, and finds some animals down there that are actually robots, and it's all some evil plan by a former childhood friend who now has a vendetta against T'Challa. And I gotta be honest, this second story I did not like much, if at all. Baku has never been a great villain, in my opinion. To be fair, I've read very little of him in comics, but I've seen him in the movies. He was in, what was that, Ultimate Avengers 2. He was used pretty poorly there. I did not care for him in, he was in Ultimate Avengers 2, right? Yes. I didn't care for him in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, so I've seen him in TV a lot. I really think Cooliger did the smart thing with the film version and kind of subverted expectations for M'Baku to make him an ally. Anyway, so having this kind of all revolve around M'Baku as a villain again is a pretty harsh step in the wrong direction for me. And then there's like just this really weird conversation between T'Challa and this former childhood friend Cantu, who was exiled or something because of his father. And T'Challa's been captured by him, and he just keeps saying, Cantu, if you help me bring the White Gorilla cult to justice, I can grant you a full pardon. You can rebuild what you've lost and honor the name of your father instead of disgracing it. This is the only way. Otherwise, you will continue to live in your exile with your toys and your shame until the White Gorilla cult turns on you or you are brought to justice for your actions. Time changes people. We shall see if it's changed you. And he just like lets T'Challa go, and then they like work together for the rest of the story. I'm like, okay, that was quite the turn. I wasn't like, it's not bad, I guess. It's just like T'Challa keeps offering the dude mercy, and like that's cool. That's I like that we're being kind of, that we're subverting expectations to a point. But I don't know, it's just so, it's such a weird choice. It seems so anticlimactic. Anyway, they decide to work together to defeat M'Baku, who has been resurrected by this guy. What's his name? Death itself? Oh, Baron Macabre. Macabre, yeah, Baron Macabre. Who's like resurrected M'Baku and is giving him Necronomicon-based superpowers. And it's like a whole thing and a half, and I'm just like, okay. Just kind of turns into a big punch fest. Cantu, T'Challa's former childhood friend, has robot animals, and at one point, when T'Challa looks like he's on the ropes, Cantu forms them into a mech suit, which it'd be cool if I liked the design literally at all. It's a really, really poor design. I'm sorry. It looks bad. I don't really know where to begin here. The two heads thing is a problem. It's like he couldn't decide between lion or rhino heads, so he gave it both. I don't know where to begin with this. It's just really, that's not cool. It's stupid. You can get away with anything as long as you can get away with it. And a mech suit made out of robot animals, of course it's silly. Of course it's something that you could only get away with in comics. This just doesn't get away with it because it doesn't sell it. It just doesn't sell it to me, and it just looks goofy. It looks like when you had like two Transformers and parts of them kind of broke off, but you like just kind of combine them together anyway. I don't know. Shuri does some remote piloting, or is it remote, or is she physically there? I think she's physically there. Shuri gets involved in this story, which is kind of cool, and helps defeat Baku. Yeah, she's physically there. And then they all fly home at the end, and all is well. The second story is probably the weakest to me. It's not awful or anything. It's got its moments that I kind of liked. But overall, I think that's the weaker point in the story. And then you've got Under the Bridge, which is the story that is the most in continuity. I guess. I'm assuming. I don't know what the fuck Coates is doing right now. The other two stories don't have really anything to do with continuity because you just read them and, yeah, T'Challa's just ruling Wakanda. So we've got a Venom symbiote on this chick. And she's apparently been filling in as the Black Panther in Wakanda. That's what the story tells me. But she's really from Nigeria. And also she's in a wheelchair. So it's like we've combined Shuri, Flash Thompson, and Venom in one character. And it's weird. What's her name? Nnedi? Nnne? Anyway, she's returned home to Nigeria for a wedding. And while she's there, a former boyfriend breaks into their house and with a gang steals all their food, and they escape using his mutant power that she didn't know about. And so she dons the Venom symbiote, which has wings, and that's a design choice I quite like. The insectoid wings is really cool. I also like the way the dreads look with the Venom symbiote kind of attached to it. That's a neat look. Anyways, she dons the Venom symbiote and goes and tries to hunt it down and figure out what happened. And he reveals that the mutant community in Nigeria are exiled and treated really harshly. And so she decides that he should just have the food after there's like a fight. And she turns into a dragon with the symbiote and almost kills everybody, but then she gets it under control. She decides to let him have the food. It's for the better. And all seems well between this young couple. By the end, as he sneaks a rose into her wedding ceremony, or wedding reception that she's attending, sneaks a rose in for her as a thank you. Yeah, that one's just okay. Again, I don't know shit about the continuity right now. I'm assuming that's in continuity, because if not, that's a weird-ass premise to try to sell for a single issue. it's just fine. Like, I kind of like the idea of getting to see what the mutant community is treated like outside of America. Usually, it's the stuff I've seen at least is usually pretty North America focused. If not the United States, then Canada based. So seeing what it's like for mutants in Africa is kind of a cool idea. And that, she's the acting Black Panther, and instead of fighting and beating up everybody, she decides, yeah, you stole food and that's not ideal, but yeah, you did need it more than we did. So, I don't know, that's a pretty good message. Overall, I thought this was pretty fun. Like, I complained a lot, I think, about the middle story arc. And I will say I think that's the weakest, but again, this is more all ages, just general audience kind of book. I don't think that's really going to bother too many people in any significant way, and it far from, like, ruins the book or anything like that. It's just okay at best. The art's pretty good throughout. We get a couple different artists on here, and they all do a pretty good job selling it. Overall, it was a fun read. I'd definitely recommend this if you're just looking for more Black Panther to read, but you don't want a whole run or something that's going to be setting up a whole run. Just, it's 3 stories, $19. Or not even $19, $15. Yeah, I think that's worth your while. That's it. That'll do it for Trade Talk this week, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, bye.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.